So, awaiting the other participants, let me begin in the right earnest to sing the verses which you have seen already. Shriman Venkatanatharya Kavitarkika Kesari Vedantacharya Varyo Me Sannidhattam Sadagridi Santasri Rangaprithvisha Charanatrana Shekaraha Jayanti Bhavanatrana Padapangajane Namaha. Let us go to the slide. Bharataya, the second verse. Bharataya param namostu tasmai prathamo dakaranaya bhakti bhajam yadupajyamasheshata prithuvyam prathito raghava paduka prabhavaka varnastomairvakula sumano vasanamudvahantim Amnayanam prakritima samhitam drishtavantam pade nitya pranihita dhiyam paduke ranga bhartuhu tvannamanam munimiha bhaje tvamaham stotu kamaka divyasthanat tvamiva jagatim paduke gahamana Padanyasam prathamamanaga bharati yatra chakre yogakshemam sagala jagatam tvayadhinam sajanane vacham divyam dishatu vasudha shrotra janmam nirmeye niche pihantam murdhani nirvishesham tunge piyannivisate nagamottamange Prajedasa prabhadevih prathamopagitam Sorshyami rangapati padutayor yugam tat. So let me switch over to Athana Raga. Dhatte mukundamani padakayor niveshat Valmika sambhavagira samatam mamuktihi Ganga pravagapatitasya kiya nivasyat Ratchodakasya yamuna salilat visheshakha Vijnapayami kimapi pratipanna bhitihi Prageva rangapati vidbrama paduke tvam Vyangtum kshama sadasati vigadabhya suyaha Santas prushantu sadayir hridayir stutim te Ashraddadhanamapi nanmadhuna swakiye Stotre niyojayasi mam manipaduke tvam Deva pramanamiha rangapatis tathatve Tasyiva devi padapangajayot yathatvam. So we are going to read verse number 9 from Prastava Paddhati, the first chapter of Sri Padukasahasram. So before going to the 9th verse, let us look at one of the aspects of his biography. Excellent biography of the great scholar, Sri Vedantadeshika. So he was called Ramanuja Daya Patram, a very good character who received the mercy of the previous preceptor called Ramanujacharya. So what is the proof? So you know that Sri Ramanujacharya, otherwise called Yatiraja, otherwise called Tiruppavijiyan, otherwise called Embirmanath, otherwise called whatever in Tamil vocabulary. And he was followed very strictly by Vedantadeshika. And out of the 9 works of Vedanta, Sri Ramanujacharya, Vedantadeshika wrote Sanskrit commentary, especially on the 3 small prose works of Sri Ramanujacharya, collectively called Gadyatrayam, and the special names, the particular names are Sriranga Gadyam, within just 1 and 1/4 A4 size paper. So that is the size there. The quality is the highest quality. And the other two, Sharanagati Gadyam and Sri Vaikuntha Gadyam, Sri Sharanagati Gadyam and Sri Vaikuntha Gadyam, are each in 5 pages. Please note that Ramanujacharya, who hailed from Sri Perumbudur in Tamil Nadu, did not write any work in Tamil in his mother tongue. He wrote just 9 words. Of course, we also read about him by his work called Koyil Olhu in Tamil. The procedure of conducting all activities in a temple, namely we call it the Agama Shastra, the temple rituals, and also Nitya Grantha, the daily ritual book, namely performing the worship at our own home. So these 3 prose works have been commented in Sanskrit by Sri Vedantadeshika, and we know how he loved the preceptor. So we go to the other small aspects before we go to the verse number 9. So look at the first word in Stotram list, Achyuta Shatakam. As I told you earlier, the 4 languages employed by Vedantadeshika were Sanskrit, Tamil, his own mother tongue, Sanskrit and Tamil combined called Manipravalam, as you might have heard, and fourthly Prakrit. And Prakrit is the language for the first work mentioned in this slide, namely Achyuta Shatakam. So it has been converted into Devanagari script. Of course, in Devanagari, the script is Devanagari, but the language Sanskrit, and the process of transition from Prakrit language. Prakrit is a colloquial Sanskrit language. To Sanskrit is called Chaya. The process is called Chaya. So those of us who know the Prakrit language can read the original, and those of us who know only Sanskrit, classical Sanskrit, can read very easily the Chaya transition of the Prakrit language Achyuta Shatakam. Now, so one or 2 points of now one more miracle happened. So every day I will tell you some interesting incidents in the biography life of Vedantadeshika. So a snake charmer was directed towards Vedantadeshika, and the plot was to kill Vedantadeshika, murder Vedantadeshika, and therefore by the jealous people, and therefore they engaged a snake charmer and asked him to release snakes towards Vedantadeshika. The snake charmer, being paid for the act, did the bad action of sending snakes, released the snakes from his box, and they were all marching towards, crawling towards Vedantadeshika. Vedantadeshika drew a line on the earth, that means the floor, by his nail. He scratched by nail and drew a line. So many of the snakes could not overcome the line, cross the line, and they went back. Some of them more poisonous crossed the line that he made, and then immediately, as Vedantadeshika had been lucky, advised by the kite, K-I-T-E, the vehicle of Sriman Narayana, namely Garuda, as we call him. We don't call him eagle. Garuda gave mantra to him, advised him, and on the hill called Garudadri or Aushadadri in Tiruvahindrapuram near Kadalur, and therefore he could pray to Garuda in a prose form, just like, of course, following the footsteps of his preceptor Sri Ramanujacharya, whom he has not met in his lifetime. But he always had high regard for respect for Ramanujacharya. So he wrote a book called Garuda Dandakam. So Dandakam, as all of you might have known, that if a poem of 4 lines in Sanskrit, generally Sanskrit poems are of 4 lines, 4 padas, 4 quarters. So in each quarter, if a poem, if a stanza, if a verse exceeds 26 syllables, then it is very difficult to name all of them, and therefore all the categories. So those of you who know very good mathematics, please calculate 2 power 26 and tell me next class, next session. That is on Monday. So 2 power 27, if you calculate, and the name given to 2 power 27 will be Dandakam. The name is Dandakam. So Dandakam, Danda is a stick, Danda is punishment, as all of you know. So not as we say in Tamil, Danda is useless. No. Danda means stick or punishment. But it is like a stick, long stick, a single line called Pada, quarter. One part of the verse is like a stick, long stick. And it looks like, the poem looks like prose. So he started with the 2 sloka, started with a shloka, and then he ended with 2 shlokas there, 2 verses there. Namah Pannaganadhaya Vaikuntha Vashavartine Shruti Sindhu Sudhotpada Mandaraya Garutmate. His usual habit is to start a work with just a shloka with 32 syllables in each verse. So here also you find in Padukasahasram, each Paddhati of 32 here, he started with shloka, meaning 32 syllables per quarter, per the each verse. So 8 syllables for each quarter. So Garuda Dandakam goes like this. Started that. I will tell you later the full Dandakam. It takes a lot of time. So there are 4 paragraphs. Each paragraph contains 27 letters. So 4 into 27, 108. So you know 9 number is in mathematics is a wonderful number. So he wrote 108 syllables in a single poem, and that poem becomes a prose. When you read this, so when he composed this Garuda Dandakam, all the snakes were picked up by Garuda, suddenly coming from the sky, and then the snake charmer lost his livelihood. He fell at the feet of Vedantadeshika, asked for pardon, and he requested Vedantadeshika to give him back the snakes. But what is the assurance? What is the guarantee? And therefore, look at the word in the slide, Garuda Panchashat. You know the word Panchashat, mean number 50, 50. And Garuda Panchashat, 50 verses on Garuda. So he prayed again Garuda. Garuda, fortunately, brought back all the snakes, and snake charmer went away happy. So this is a miracle that happened. So we will go to verse number 9. So every day I will be giving you a very beautiful incident in the life of Vedantadeshika. So we go to number 9. Now, as I already, I think, so I must sing it again here. Yadadharam vishwam gatirabhijayastasya parama tam apyekadhatse disasicha gatim tasya ruchiram katham sakam sare druhinahara durbodha mahima kavinam chudranam tvamasi manipadustuti padam. Tanaraga continues. So now the first 2 lines refers to Paduka's greatness. Refer to Paduka's greatness. He says, as I told you earlier in the last session, that Srirangam temple, rather the Lord Ranganatha is popular for his gait, G-A-I-T, the walking style. And therefore, we say Srirangam Nadayalaku in Tamil. So the gait is very beautiful. So I told you a list: Simhagati, Gajagati, Vyalagati, Vyala again snake, Sarpagati, Mandagati, Tvaritagati, and so on. So you have a lot of gates. So in each gate, this Paduka, namely, when I say Paduka, Paduka means a pair of sandals. As we say in English, pants, P-A-N-T-S, pair of pants. So when you say the scissors, the cutting instrument, so pair of scissors. So in that way, sandals are meaning pair of divine sandals. So the Paduka directs Ranganatha where to go, when to go, how to go, and so on. So how to make a beautiful gate. So Dishasi, Tvam Dishasi. Again, I remind you all that Vedantadeshika talks to the divine sandals straight away. So Tvam Dishasi. Now, how is the greatness of Paduka? Now, you know, Lord Srimanarayana is the highest primordial being, the supreme God. And therefore, what does he do? Vishwam Adharam. He is a supporter of the entire universe. So, you know, Vishnu Sahasranam starts with Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. So please be careful in pronouncing Sanskrit words. And in the next third verse will be Bhutatma. It is not Bhutatma as you see. I will answer the question for Vasavi Narasimhan at the end of the session. We will give you time for discussion. I'm happy that you are curious to ask questions or add some facts. Okay. So the number one, Vishwam Adhar. For the whole universe, Lord Ranganatha, take for example the Acha form, he is responsible, he is a supporter. Gatihi api, he is the destination, he is the goal, he is the way, he is the road, he is the path. And Yastasya Parama. Is there any other road higher than this? No. Paramagatihi, Parama Adharam. So the support is also the highest support. The destination is also the highest or rather final destination. So what does the Paduka do? The Paduka carries the Lord. Lord is the master of the entire universe. He is sustaining the universe. He is protecting the universe. And the protector is being carried by Paduka. So Tamapi, even him, Eka, only one in the sense, a pair of sandals, carry him. That's a. Now, how does the Paduka direct the Lord? So, Gatim, the gate, the destination, where to go, how to go, when to go. It should be Ruchiram Gati. It is an interesting one. It's an amusing one. It's an entertaining one. Because you understand the gait with which Ranganatha walks in the Acha form or a feast to look at. You are lucky if you have a darshan of Ranganatha moving out of the temple and moving inside the temple. He goes very fast. He goes very slow. So then Katham Sa Kansa now when you want to describe either the Lord, namely Ranganatha, or the Paduka, if such a great a pair of personalities, namely Paduka is a Devi, Paduka is considered as a goddess. Paduka can be even called as a consort of Ranganatha. She is always attached to him on the divine feet, and therefore both are, you can say, a divine couple, a divine pair. So how to understand the greatness of Ranganatha? It is very difficult. Why? Who felt difficult to describe the greatness of the Lord? Druhina Hara Durbodha Mahima. Lord Creator, Druhinaha. Druhinaha is Brahma, Lord of creation. Haraha, Lord Shiva, the Lord of destruction. Both of them find very difficult to understand the greatness of Sriman Narayana. How? You would have come across a stotram called Mantra Raja Pada Stotram, where Narasimha Avatara, the incarnation as a man line, has been praised by Lord Shiva in the Atharva Veda. And we all learn today the new Mantra Raja Pada Stotra. Ugram Viram Mahavishtum Jalantam Sarvato Mukham Nrisumham Bhishanam Bhadram Nityam Nityanamamyaham. Lord Shiva praises Lord Narasimha with an explanation for each word, giving a shloka each. And it is called Mantra Raja Pada Stotra. If you take the case of Lord Creator, you will find in Ramayana that as a human being, Rama was reminded that he is none other than Sriman And from the beginning of Ramayana, Kavyam, this poetry, the Balakandam contains how all the gods, led by Brahma, Indra, and Shiva, appealed to the Lord, namely Sriman Narayana, with their eulogy, Devastuti. All gods praise him. And finally, when Rama finished his task of killing Ravana and he was about to leave for Ayodhya along with Sita, Brahma is again adoring him. Brahma Stuti is there. So Rama Stuti by Brahma. So I understand that nobody can completely describe the greatness of the Lord. Who is that Lord? Kamsare, Kamsarihi. Enemy to uncle Kamsa. Kamsa was the demon. Jarasanda's son-in-law. Therefore, he was a demon. Jarasandha was a demon. So, Kamsarehe, now connect these two words, Kamsarehe with Manipadu. Whose Paduka is this in Srirangam? It is Kamsarehe Manipadu. So, the gemmed sandals belonging to the enemy of Kamsa. Why this mention of Kamsa? Please remember, whenever anybody is associated with the Lord, whether he is a friend or enemy, we will remember him completely. For example, if you recite Aditya Hridaya Stotram from Ramayana, you start with the name of Ravana. And then you have mention of demons, when you always have a praise on Lord. So, and then again, so Kamsa being related as an uncle to Ravana, Krishna, and then Kamsa being though enemy, Kamsa was always afraid of Krishna from the very birth, namely from the very incarnation at midnight. And then he was shivering in bones till the end of his life. So, in order to give you an example, who feared most? Who was afraid most? We always illustrate the character of Kamsa. So now he is asking, Vedantadeshika is asking the question, so how can bad poets, Kavinam, Shudranam, Shudraha meaning a mean poet. A poet, what we say in English, a poet is born and not made. So Vedantadeshika is not a poet made. He was born as a poet. He is a born poet. And they are in the same way. But here he is talking about himself as a bad poet. That's the beauty here. And you will find this in Prastava Paddhati, almost in each verse, that he lowers himself and he talks ill of himself. He scolds himself. He despises himself. And then he brings down his own merit. But let us not assess him by his words like this. It is out of modesty, out of humility. Vidya dadati vinayam. Vinayadyati patratam. You would have heard about these words from a common verse called Subhashitam in Sanskrit. So don't go further, because Vedantadeshika was not interested in earning money. Dhanad, vidya dadati vinayam, vinayadyati patratvam, patratvat dhanam apnot. Dhanad dharmam tatasukam. So let us not take the second half of the verse. The first half of the verse fits to Vedantadeshika's character very aptly, and therefore he was so humble that he refers to himself as, of course, he does not mention, I am the Chudra Kavi, I am a mean poet, I am a lesser poet, I am a poet of bad quality, I cannot write good poems. So this is not the way. So he does not mention it, but the inner meaning is he is referring to himself. Kavinam Chudranam. So even mean poets, even bad quality poets sing. So stuti padam tvam asi. So you are the target of praise. Tvam stuti padam asi. So you are going to be adored by many people, including lesser poets. But how can they do it? Even Creator could not do it. Even Lord Shiva could not help. Therefore, so Katham Tvam. You are a great person. You are a great goddess. You are the divine sandal. So how can the greatness be praised by lesser poets? Many people want to praise the sandals, but how can they do it? He is asking the question. That means the answer is no. Nobody can do it like this. So any bad poet will not be able to, any artificial poet will not be able to sing the praise of the saints. So this shows only the humility of Sri Vedantadeshika. So let's go to, now you can ask the doubts, particularly if you want the meaning of some words which you have not understood during the course of this lecture. So we will, I'll have to give you some time. You can email, you can to Vyoma, you can. So there are so many opportunities given to you. And then, so I find there are 34 participants today. I'm very happy. So we will go to 10. Now, Shruta Prajna Sampan Mahita Mahimana Kati Kati Stuanti Tvam Santa Shruti Kuhara Kanduhara Giraha Aham Twalpastadvadyadika Bahujalpami Tadapi Tadayattam Rangachiti Ramana Padavani Viduhu. Now, even reading this poem is very difficult for us to successfully do without mistake in pronunciation for the first time. But he is saying, I am prattling. Third pada, the word, look at the word jalpami. So when you catch cold, when we catch cold, we are not able to talk clearly. We talk through the nose. Nasikaha sulabaha, anunasikaha sulabaha. Nga, nya, na, ma. These 5 letters are easy to pronounce when you have cold. But whereas it is not possible, to say clearly all other words. Now, the one greatest advantage in learning Sanskrit, I will tell you, that you can be a master of any language. When you are interested in learning any language, for that matter, any world language, any Indian language, Sanskrit will be of great help. And therefore, please remember. So he says now, I prattle. How much do you prattle? We ask Vedantadeshika, Bahujalpami. I am prattling very much. But it looks like the sweet nothings of a child, a small child. Please remember in Vedantadeshika's very big work called Yadavabhyadhyam, with the 24 cantos, with which almost approximately 2,400 verses, for example. I have not counted properly. He says, for humor, that as soon as Krishna was born, or rather incarnated, so, he went to Yashoda's house. And any child, for that matter, would always talk to mother very easily. And the child will come to the father a little late. So mother will teach easily the words. So mother was teaching. So tell my name. If somebody asks you what is your mother's name, you tell Yashoda. So he says, da, 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 da. So every window you look at him, take any child, ask to pronounce ta, because we are asking ta, give. So da will be easy to pronounce. So da. Then he says next letter, shoda. Da, shoda, then Yashoda. Within say 1.5 years, he utters da and then shoda and Yashoda. So this is the humor that Vedantadeshika said about sweet nothings of the child Lord Krishna. And here he says at the advanced age, ripe age, Vedantadeshika says, I am prattling a lot. How? Aham tu alpaha. I'm a small man. I'm a small man. I'm a little man. So aham tu alpaha tadvat, and therefore iha bahu jalpam. Now, in composing 1008 verses of Padukasahasram, I am just prattling. But what is the difference between me and others? There are very great people. Shruta, they have got a lot of knowledge of scriptures. So they have listened to many great scholars. Shruta, therefore they have become intelligent. So prajna, intelligence. So they have the wealth of intelligence. Prajna sampat. Sampat is wealth. And therefore they are honored, Mahita. And therefore they are great, Mahimanaha. So great people are there who have got wealth of knowledge by hearing others and learning scriptures. How many? Kati kati, many. How many? Kati means how many. So kati means how many. So stuvanti, what do? They praise you, Tvam. Stuvanti Tvam. Who are those people? Look at the first one. Santasthiranga Prithvisha Charanatrana Shekharaha. Good people mean they praise the sandals. So Santaha Tvam Stuvanti. Good people in the sense, good in intelligence. So what will be our experience while listening to the points of very great people who have got wealth of knowledge by reading scriptures? Shruti Kuhara Kanduhara Giraha. Giraha, the words, will be reeling in our hearts. When we listen through the ears cavity, Shruti Kuhara, Shruti, this has got a double meaning. Shruta Prajna, they have learned scriptures. Shruti, again scripture. So it is as if the words of the great poets will be a resonance of the scriptures, as though we hear the scriptural sentences. So Kuhara, cavity, Kanduhara, it will be itching. Itching in the sense, so we will be curious to hear more and more of great people's poems. So their words will be powerful. Their description of divine sandals will be better than myself, than my words. I am prattling here. So can you say Vedantadeshika prattled 1008 verses in Padukasahasram? You will find the divine experience as you go. Now, so what is the role of your Paduka? Many great poets sing the praise of the sandals. People like me, with the low quality in composing a poem, also praise you. But what is the control over these two people, the two kinds of people? Tadayattam. Both of us are controlled by you. Tadayattam. So he is asking, he is addressing Ranga Kshiti Ramana Padavani. Ranga, Srirangam, Kshiti, earth, Ramana, amusing, entertaining, Padavani, the sandals. Padavani, Padam, Padau Avati iti Padavani. So these two divine feet of Sri Ranganatha have been protected by the divine sandals, and therefore, and it's an interesting sandal. Please note, if you wear a chappal, that is sandal, the sandal should not bite, as we say in Tamil. You should be convenient. It should be cushion-like. It will be smooth. And when you walk, there will be easiness. You will not feel tired of carrying the weight of the sandals. So you know how many types of sandals are available in the market. Here, this particular divine sandal is most convenient to the divine feet of the Lord, and Lord is very happy to wear them. Now we understand, all the people understand, whether they are good or bad, whether a lowly poet like me or any great man describing you excellently, both of them are under your control. You made them sing. You make me sing. We have time to go to the next one. Okay. So, if you want more information on biography, I would like to tell you today. And since the first Paddhati is called Prastava Paddhati, there are big verses. Whereas in the second Paddhati, Samakhya Paddhati, there are very small verses. And I won't say in future small or big. I will give you technically the names. And some people, I think, some people need word by word translation for these two Paddhatis. And we will recommend some books available online, soft copy from the internet. And just for information, a printed book was available earlier, once upon a time, translated by D.T. Tatachar Swami of Chennai. And then we have, so word by word translations are available. That is one thing. If you have any other question. Now, one more aspect of biography, what I want to say today will be, in the slides, in the history slide, we will see what we call Vairagya Panchakam. I think I told you about Vairagya Panchakam, but still. So, Vedantadeshika wrote a letter of just 5 verses, and he showed his nonchalant attitude, neither hatred nor liking. So as Bhagavad Gita says, Same, what do you call, Labha Labho, Jaya Jayo, Same Kritva. So keep both of them alike. That is, treat the same way both the profit and loss, victory and defeat. So, Sukha Dukkhe Same Kritva Labha Labho Jaya Jayo. This was the advice to Lord, means Arjuna, King Arjuna by Lord Krishna. So in the same way, Vedantadeshika had no dislike and no liking. So he wrote to the Asthana Vidwan, namely Vidyaranya, who was a very great scholar in Advaita, in the court of Krishna, King Krishna Devaraya. He refused to accept his invitation to be paid with a salary, with a high salary, of course, because he was never after money. He was never after money. Now, one more aspect of the biography of Sri Vedantadeshika is Yadavabhyudayam. As I told you just now, 24 cantos with about 12,200 verses plus. And this Yadavabhyudayam has been commented in Sanskrit by a very great scholar in Advaita, namely Appaya Dikshita. You would have heard about Appaya Dikshita's name in the Advaita field. And he wrote very great works, say, for example, Advaita Siddhi. Nobody can win over him in the philosophy of Advaita. So Appaya Dikshita said about Yadavabhyudayam is Bhava Santi Pade Pade. Emotions are all available in each word of Vedantadeshika. When he commented on the first verse called Vande Brinda Vanacharam Vallavi Janavallabham Jayanti Sambhavan Dhama Vaijayanti Vibhushanam. This was the first verse in Yadavabhidam. This is also the first verse, as you might all have heard, that it is the first verse of Gopala Vimshati on Lord Krishna. There are 21 verses. The first verse goes the same way. So in order to give the meaning of this for one single verse with the 32 syllables on the whole, Apayadikshita took 5 pages of Sanskrit. So you understand that the deeper meanings are available. Dhvani is available. Tertiary meaning is available. Alankara is available. That is what you call embellishment. Figure of speech are available. They are all contained in the works of Vedantadeshika. So let us go to number, the verse number 10. Oh, sorry, 10 we have seen, so 11. So if you have time, we'll have. So Yadesha Stavmi Tvam Triyuga Charanatrayini Tato Mahimnaka Hanistava Mamatu Sampan Niravadihi Shunalida Kamam Bhavatu Surasendur Bhagavati Tadesha Kim Bhuta Satu Sapadi Santapa Rahitaha. So this is 11. Vedantadeshika has been airing his respectful pronouns to great preceptors of yore, namely Nammalvar, that is Dravida Vedasagara, who wrote 1,000 Tamil songs called Thiruvaimozhi. Then he mentioned the name of Valmiki with great respect in 2 or 3 verses at least. Valmikasam bhavagira samatam mamuktihi. He said, my words will become equal to Valmiki's words. And so he must bless me. So Vasudha Shrotra Janma Munirme. He said, so he must bless me because he came out of the ear of the earth, namely ant hill. So he mentioned that Prache Sada Prabhutibif Prathamota Geetam. He mentions thrice the name of Valmiki. Valmiki sang on Paduka sandals. First, Adikavyam is Ramayana. First work, first poet was Valmiki. So you find all these 3 lines there. Now, I will try to give you, because some words, when there are some words, very simple words are there, I can give you word by word meaning also. So I am now praising you. Yeshaha Stavmi. You know, in Sanskrit, if we want to say I, so that means you have got ahankar. So I say aham. All of you may know aham means I. So aham brahmasmi. I am the Lord. I am the greatest Lord. I am Brahma Asmi. Not Brahma Asmi. I am aham Brahma Asmi. So I am the Lord. I am the supreme God. Suppose you want to say. But if you want to be humble, you must say, I am Janaha. If you want to be more humble, I am Dasaha. If you want to be most humble, Aham Dasanudasaha. I am Dasanudasaha. We don't say Aham. We say I am. I am means this person, this person. So in the same way, the synonym for I am is Eshaha. So this man, namely, he refers to himself. So Vedantadeshika is praising you. Stauti. So Eshaha Staumi Tvam. So Eshaha Aham. To humble myself, to praise you. Staumi Tvam. Praises you. So who are you? Oh, divine sandal, Triyuga Charana Trayini. So you are the protector, Trayini, Tra to protect. Charanatrayini, protector of the divine feet. Charana is foot. So Charanatrayini, protector of the divine feet. So who is that? So what is the greatness of that feet, divine feet? Three Yuga Charana. You have heard about Krita Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So we are in Kali Yuga. Therefore, you find that in Kali Yuga, we understand directly that these divine sandals protect the divine feet of Lord Ranganatha. In turn, Ranganatha protects us. Or you can even directly say, by reading Padukasahasram 1008 verses, you can straight away say, the divine sandals protect us on earth now. So, Tri Yuga Charana Trayini. So, Tri Yuga, that means you don't mention the number 3. So, you say all the time. So, all the time, the divine sandals protect the divine feet of the Lord. In turn, both of them, that is divine feet and the sandals, protect the entire universe. Tataha, then, therefore, tataha means then and therefore. Mahimnah ka hanihi. Now, please remember Vedantadeshika's words. Vijñāpayāmi pratipanna bhītihi. I am afraid that I submit that I want to compose a poem on sandals, divine sandals. But what is the harm if I praise? Though I am not a good poet, though I have fear in composing Padukasahasram, what will be a bad effect on the sandals? Ka mahim hanihi, what will be a harm? Ka hanihi, ka what hanihi, the harm or to the greatness, mahimnaha. Whose greatness? Your greatness, tava. To the sandals' greatness, what will be the harm? Mamatu sampan niravadhihi. My advantage is to me, namely, I will get all kinds of wealth without limit. Sampat wealth, niravadhihi. So what kind of wealth I need? I don't need money of this world. Therefore, I want spiritual wealth. I want bhakti. I want to surrender to you, O sandals. So mamatu sampat, my wealth will be niravadhihi, unlimited. Now, what is the analogy? This is, what I forgot to tell you in the yesterday's session was, this alankara beauty, embellishment is called, alankara is called nidarshana. Nidarshana. Generally, the word nidarshanam means proof. As you know, darshanam means seeing. So when you look at the Lord, then you say call darshan. You call it seva. No, this is the analogy, comparison. What is the comparison? He mentioned earlier the Ganges. And he referred to himself as Ratchodakam, the road water, dirty road water. Ratchodakam. Rathya, Rathaha chariot, Rathaha car, Rathya is road, and then Ratchodakam, Udakam is water, Jalam, Neeram, Payaha, so many words for water. So Ratchodakam is the road water, dirty water. So he said when it joins Yamuna and Ganges, it will become pure. And there will be no difference between Ganges, the purity of Ganges and the purity of the road water. So it will be one. Now you look, he is talking about again the Ganges, Sura Sindhu. So Sura Sindhu is ethereal Ganges, heavenly Ganges, called Mandakini. If you take an example take an illustration that a dog goes and licks the water of the Ganges. Why dog? You must know Parasara Bhatta, a very great priest in the temple of Ranganatha, wrote a small book called Ranganatha Stotram with just 8 verses. And he prayed to the Lord Ranganatha that even to be born as a dog in Srirangam, it is better than becoming an enemy to the Lord. Without having bhakti, devotion to the Lord, it is better that I become a dog in the, or the worm in the gutter of the, what you call the Shakadai in Tamil. Nalla, I think in Hindi. So, so even when I am born as a worm in the gutter, the dirty water, septic tank, you say, septic tank to be very precise, septic tank. If I have worm in the septic tank in Srirangam, I am lucky. So now the dog is, of course, a mean animal, but many of us feel that the dog is better than a human being because it is grateful to the master and so on. No, let us not go into the good qualities of the dog. But a dog, we say a creature, a small creature, goes to the Ganges and because it is thirsty, it tries to drink water of the Ganges. But you know how the dog drinks water? It licks the water. பூனை நாய் எல்லாம் நக்கி தான் குடிக்கும். They cannot gobble the water in a great quantity. So they can slowly only drink. So when the dog touches the Ganges river, can we say the river is polluted? The river has become dirty because the dog touched it. So kamam truly, kamam is an avyaya, indeclarable in Sanskrit here. So kamam truly, chunalida bhavatu. Let the Ganges be touched by a dog. Bhagavati, so Bhagavati is a goddess river. The river is a goddess, Bhagavati. So what will happen to you, O sandals? Tadesha kim bhuta. In the same way, what will happen to the Ganges river? It will not be called the polluted river, dirty river, because a dog licked the waters. The same way, so if I praise you, there will be no harm to the sandals. But what is the advantage? The dog which licked the water of the Ganges, it quenched its thirst. The thirst is gone. It quenched its thirst. So the dehydration did not happen to the dog. Sapadi, immediately, as soon as, for example, we are thirsty, when we get a tumbler of a glass of water, that is enough for immediate quenching of the thirst. So, santapa rahitaha. So the dog will have the satisfaction of drinking water while it was thirsty. So what is the difference between the dog and you? So in our human life, we have got a lot of longings, santapa. We are heated. We have dehydration of our mind. So in order to supply good thoughts, water to our mind, to nourish our mind, so we need to understand the greatness of the sandals, divine sandals of Sri Lanka. So as soon as we start reading Padukasahasram, some of your reactions were very good, positive reactions. You said, I want to read Padukasahasram because you said it's very great and it contains a lot of information of the greatness of the divine sandals and the divine feet of Lord Ranganatha. And therefore, so one example I give you from Tirupavai. கரவைகள் பின் சென்று காணம் சேர்ந்தும்போ அறிவொன்றுமில்லாத ஆய்குலத் உந்தன்னை பிறவிப் பெருந்தனை புண்ணியம் யாமுடியோம் குறைவொன்றுமில்லாத கோவிந்தா உந்தன்னோடு உறவேல் நமக்கு இங்கு ஒழிக்க ஒழியாது அறியாத பிள்ளைகளோம் அன்பினால் உந்தன்னை சிறு பேரழைத்தனவும் சீரி அருளாதே இறைவா நீதாராய் பரையேலோர் என்பாவாய். It should be sung in the Kambodhi Raga, but I don't know whether time will permit. So he's the cowherdesses of Gokulam, the damsels of Siviliputtur in Kali Yuga, sang these songs. And they said, the name of the God is greater than the God himself. That is the point that we must learn from these lines. So, greater than the God. The name itself will give us the advantage, the boon that we need, that we demand from the Lord. here. Okay. So when you have chat, when somebody answers that the book is available in shatagopan.org, it's not very easy to do it during your session. So please do avoid searching for this book in any website. You do it leisurely after you hear us in the Padukasahasram lecture session. So here, let us look at this 11. If you want any further information on 11, we will have it answered in the email or chat or question and answers. We have 2 questions in here. So, okay, the Chandas. Srikant, I think, is asking for Chandas. I shall tell you in future. The first verse, Santasya is what we call Anushtup Chandas. The Vrittam is Shloka, the meter is Shloka, and the major division is Anushtup with 8 syllables per quarter. And you have Vasanta Tilaka in between. Before we go to 12, we will have the meter Vasanta Tilaka also. Vasanta Tilaka has got 14 syllables per quarter. And if you are interested in learning Chandas, and if you want to find out the Chandas by yourself, it's very easy, counting the number of syllables. And if you want to take another division of the meter, namely prosody, so you can calculate the number of syllabic instants called matra, simply meaning one second, the time duration taken for pronouncing a syllable. So if it is a long vowel, it should be 2 seconds, and if it is a short vowel, it is 1. In future, Vyoma will give us the opportunity to learn Chandas, if at all it is not dealt with earlier by other scholars in Sanskrit. So Vyoma, I think, would have plunged into such subjects also, I hope. In some other session, this Chandas will be in detail dealt with. But here, of course, I can help you to find out the Chandas, the Vrittam meter. And I wanted to tell you the enormity of this computer science, the perfect computer science called prosody in Sanskrit, called Chandas. The Vedanga, one of the limbs of the scriptures, 6 limbs of the scriptures, namely a computer called the highest computer, Param, a creation of Indian discovery, rather invention, Indian invention, cannot cope up with the highest calculation needed for the computer science, namely prosody, Chandas in Sanskrit. So it should be, I think, 8 crores 65 lakhs and something, and odd number to just have 2 power 26. So I'll deal with such subject in future also. So yes, somebody has given 2 to the power of 26 is 6 crores 71 lakhs 8,864. So can you name your children of 6 crores? Can I name children, 6 crores of children? So for example, Tamil Nadu has the population of, I think, today 10 crores. So 6 crores earlier. 6 crore children. How to name them? It's very difficult. Therefore, we have only some names. Out of 14 syllables per quarter, Vasanta Tilaka is one of the beautiful names. So you'll find, if you want to read, I will give you the names of books also, and I will also guide you to read those books. So this is, by the way, this is what we call side effect of the what we call the sweet medicine. Why I say sweet medicine is Vedantadeshika's words are sometimes simple, sometimes very, very terse, T-E-R-S-E. Very difficult to make out the meaning, and how he has constructed beautifully the grammatically correct sentences in Sanskrit. Everybody is surprised. Every Sanskrit scholar is surprised. And therefore, that is the greatness of Vedantadeshika. Let me take this opportunity to thank you. And also, I've got a lot of information. I want to deal with the 12 also today, but I want to give you some time to question. Because the last few sessions, I was not finding time to give you, Roma has conducted course on Chandas. So to remember these stotras, the only one upaya is available, one strategy is available, repeating them 1,000 times. But how to repeat for 1,000 times in a day? So first you start with 2 times a day. That's the first technique, easy technique. And then remembering the stotras will be, and you find people who learned by rote 4,000 Divya Prabandhas in Tamil. Irrespective of the age, please remember, irrespective of the age, your interest matters. You can always recite, remember all stotras, whatever be the language, Sanskrit or anything. We can guide you. That's also very easy, but execution, plunging into the matter, drowning in the what you call the ocean of knowledge will be as difficult as drowning in a watery ocean. But you have to, your aptitude counts, your interest matters. Then you can do it. Where there is a will, there is a way. Okay, so let me give the Jayati Etiraja Sukti, last verse of Padukasahasram. Having high regard to the preceptor, he says, Jayati Etiraja Sukti, Jayati Mukundasya Paduka Yugali, Tadubhayadhana Trivedi, Avandhyayanto Jayanti Bhuvisantaha, Kavitarkika Simhaya, Kalyana Gunashaline, Srimate Venkateshaya, Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Maybe I have finished today very, very early. The session is only 7:22. So I'll give you opportunities for all the participants to air their views, to give their comments. If you also give us some better way of the presentation. I think if we want to give the word by word meaning, I will help Vyoma to present you on the slides the word by word meaning in future, at least for selected slokas which are more interesting than others. And then you have the notes. If at all you have touch with the Sanskrit commentaries of great authors, namely Mallinatha is a great author of as a commentator, and he commented on the 5 Mahakavyas on Sanskrit: Raghuvamsam of Kalidasa, Kumarasambham of Kalidasa, Kiratarjuniyam of Bharavi, Shishupalavatham of Magha, and Naishadhiya Charitam of Sriharsha. So when he gives the commentary, so these are the 6 aspects that we give. Number 1, meaning in what we call Paryaya Padam. A synonymous word will be given in Sanskrit. Then again, you have to search the meaning. The second one will be the significance of the word. The secondary meaning, what you call dhani. Irachi porul, as we say in Tamil. We say in Tamil also dhani. Suggestion, we say in English. Suggestion. Then you have alankara, the figure of speech, the chandas, the name of the meter, and the definition of the meter in the commentary itself. And some more information. Who used this expression earlier? And so on. Now, you find that a parallel of Sri Padukasahasram in Vedantadeshika's work itself, namely Sri Stuti, when he praises the goddess Mahalakshmi, namely Mahadevi in Kanchipuram, he says the same idea as he said here in Padukasahasram Prastava Paddhati. He says, Bhumayasya bhuvanamakilam devi divyam padam va stoka prajnairanavadhiguna suyase sa katham tvam. The same idea. How can people of less knowledge praise you? Because it is very difficult to understand you, O Goddess Mahalakshmi, because your property is both Sivaikuntham, Paramapadam, as well as the entire universe. So how to say it? You incarnated in the Yagashala of Janaka, King Janaka. You appeared in the Yagashala of Janaka when he was plowing the field. And you also came up out of the Milky Ocean when it was churned. So how can we describe you? Your birth, your incarnation. So in that way, a lot of similar ideas within, of course, Vedantadeshika's works, and also it's all out of humility, modesty, that Vedantadeshika says these words. So I can quote, as you said, from other stotras very easily, but I'm restricting myself to Padukasahasram so that you will concentrate more on Padukasahasram than any other stotra of Vedantadeshika. So you'll start loving this later. Yeah. Any further questions I can chat? Okay. Okay. So thanks to Vyoma, and we'll have more interesting sessions in the next week from Monday to Thursday. मम सुहृदः आगताः तेषामपि कृते मम धन्यवादाः निवेद्यन्ते. So let us complete today the session, and we will. Sometimes I would say a teacher is liked most because he cuts short the session. Thank you very much. I think we're happy to meet all of you here. And with thanks to Vyoma.